So how's it feel to be coming back?
It's good. It's always good. It's the best. The remainder of the season. At the beginning, it was about two journeys. When we sat down, like we're sitting down with season 4 now. I remember this time last year we were like, it's a metamorphosis season. The two people changing the most in season 3 were Bruce Wayne and Edward Nygma, and they were two actors that have just grown, like incredible work they've done. Bruce Wayne had to become a man, and he had to confront violence, he had to confront his parents' death, he had to confront guilt, and the end of the season now you'll see him being forced to deal with those complex, mature emotions that they go through, in the same way that Edward Nygma had to confront who he really was, and embrace finally, no, I'm a dark person, just admitting who you really are, what your nature, your human nature, what your true nature is, and what makes you an individual in the world. It's what's great about all the DC villains. They're all people that will not be ignored, will not be forgotten, will not be put down, and these are that finding their voice. That's a beautiful thing to write.
Is there one character in particular coming up in these episodes that you should really be watching?
I think with the journey that Bruce takes, and the mentor that isn't Alfred, that takes Bruce through this journey, has some really good moments with Bruce, because it's like a long, painful therapy session where somebody is forced to confront everything that they think makes them tick, but actually it's what's holding them back. And I think we've all been that guy. Yeah, it's something we can all relate to. In the same way with Nygma being like, however bad it is, keeping a lid on somebody is just, you're destroying that person from the inside out. Best to just let that lid off and let him be who he is and deal with the consequences, rather than just, I watched King of Comedy at the beginning of the season with De Niro, and he says, better king for a night than schmuck for a lifetime, and I was like, that's a great line. Love that movie.
What's the big baddie villain that you want to... I mean, obviously you hinted at the Joker quite a bit.
Yeah.
And his origins are always sketchy because we've never had a true definitive origin.
Yeah.
We have the Penguin, we have the Riddler, Mr. Freeze has come.
Yeah.
Young Scarecrow. What's like the one get that would it work for season 4, or are they trying to save him for the movie?
That's the problem. It's not a problem. It's a great problem to have, that you have a massive company like DC, or also like... And they want to keep stuff secret from us too. Although you imagine, I'm like a guy who likes coming to these things. I'm a fan guy, and you're talking to the head of DC who's saying to you, "Stay away from X," and you're like, "Why? What are you doing?" And he's like, and that's a really all. Then I want to do is go, So here, it's a good problem to have, that the fact that they are trying to keep things for them right now. They are, and they're jumping around all kinds of timelines too. So it's kind of messing with everything. But is there somebody that I really want to get out there? Yeah, there is. There's a couple. I have a standalone episode which I'm dying to write, called The Ventriloquist. I'm just so fired up for that. I'm so fired to revisit Jonathan Crane too, because the thing about him is, we talked about the origin of the origin. We haven't talked about his origin yet, and that's coming up. That'll be the beginning of season 4. So where the name comes from and all of that stuff. But who else? I mean, we've still got Clayface to do. There's so much to do.
Was the fan part of the reason that Cameron's back, or was that always going to be?
No, that was always designed as like, he has a series of his own, and that's where I met Cameron. I was on as a director. I was working with John Wells, who said he knew I was a fan of Shameless, and I went and did an episode for them. And then when I came back, the minute Gotham started and we talked about this character he's going to kill his parents inside a circus, and I got the guy, I got him, I know who it is. And it was like, that's happened to me twice. I did it with Victor Zsasz too. I was like, the minute I looked at that character, I was like, I got this guy. And it's great to be right like that when you see it play, because there's that point, casting them, no problem, costume goes on, first scene, great. But in that cutting room, you're kind of like, oh, this is totally my neck on the block. And then to watch them just, boom, just both those characters. I mean, their body, that's the great thing, what actors like about this show. They get to act with their bodies as well. I mean, all of them have this, you never see that in other shows. You get heads and shoulders and people speak what they're feeling, dialogue. This is a show where a guy could walk in an empty room and you're interested because of he's personifying something more than we put on page, you know.
And the show has a dark tone. The character's been dark. It's almost 80 years of Batman. Where do you find your personal darkness to put into the series?
I got plenty of that. Just look at the news these days. But you look at the news, but also I think you look at the idea of just like what art does for me. When I was drawing comic books when I was 14, and I just found 2 of them, 13. I made my own comic books, stapled them, and put them together with string. You know, I did that, and some of them are unfinished. But it was kind of like I've been doing that since I was 13, and a lot's happened in my life since then. But there was something I could say what I wanted to in drawings and in writing and in making movies that I couldn't say in real life. So I think it's incredible. Sometimes you read a scene from a writer and you go, wow, that's extremely personal, and they go, is it? And then they just wander off and they go, my God, it is. Sometimes you don't know. I've watched things with my kids who are big fans of the show, which is always nice, and then realised whilst they were watching it that it was extremely personal, but I'd been doing it for 2 months before that. So I don't know, and I really don't want to know as long as it keeps coming.